How to prioritize your time as a founder. As I talk to a lot of founders, I find that prioritization, and I get it, I struggle with this as well. Prioritization is a challenge because there are so many things that you could or should be working on. And the challenge is always going to be the difference between what is urgent and what is important. Sometimes I like to think what is better and what is best as far as your time being a limited commodity, very precious when it comes to startups and really any entrepreneurial venture, because your time has the highest leverage and presents the greatest opportunity to really move the needle. And so often founders find themselves scrambling around being very reactionary, and they want to be proactive, but then they feel bad that they're not more proactive and that they're reacting. But if you can't react, then you feel bad because things start to fall apart, or the platform is burning, the plates are spinning, they come crashing down, you have expectations. Like I said, I totally get it. And I've tried so many different methodologies on how to prioritize my time, and from lists to apps, journals, etc. And so I'm going to show you what I use that's very simple, that's helped me organize my day without getting into some other type of routine that only bogs my day down even more. And everybody's going to be different. People have a different temperament and approach things a different way. Like I said, this is only what works for me, and I'm going to walk you through how I do it. And it's simple. I'm not sure where I picked this up, but I've modified it and it works for me. So I'm going to show you the 1, 2, 3 method. And here's how it works. So every day, what happens is you have one high priority thing that you're going to do, two medium priority things that you're going to do, and then three bonus things that if you get to, fantastic, you're going to do them. And how I arrange this is it forces me. So the way to approach it, it forces me, it'll force you to pick what is the highest strategic leverage. And I don't say what is the highest priority, because you may be feeling something completely different in terms of priority. So asking yourself, what is the one thing that I can do that has the highest strategic leverage of my time? And that requires sort of a multiplication factor. So for example, recording this video, it was high on my list, and actually the first thing that I'm doing today, because I said, if this video works and I get it out there, then it's a piece of content that'll keep working on my behalf, and it'll, people will watch it, and I won't have to be saying the same thing over and over again. And then also in the future, what will also happen is I can just simply link and embed the video somewhere, or share the video when someone else has a similar question on how to prioritize their time. So that's how this works. The other thing that you can think about is if you can free up a mental capacity or emotional capacity. And how I like to describe this is sometimes there are just things that you are putting off, you need to do, and they're just bogging you down. And if you just bit the bullet and stop procrastinating, then you would free up so much mental capacity for you to move forward and do different things. So I've got a task in my mind right now that has been draining my mental energy, and I've been procrastinating. Now, let me talk about procrastinating for a second. Procrastination, a lot of entrepreneurs and founders and people in general, students, they feel bad that they're procrastinating and they think that it's a character issue. Procrastination isn't a character issue, although it can lead to character issues. Procrastination is actually a coping mechanism. It's a form of self-soothing that when you're dealing with anxiety or you're having a stress response about something that you want to do and you procrastinate, it's because there's something that you're afraid of holding you back, that's causing some type of irritation, some discomfort. And so we procrastinate. It's not a character issue. So when I'm procrastinating something, it kind of gives me a sign that maybe I need to bump this up my list, and doing it might create a high degree of leverage as far as my mental capacity, and I'm free to do those things that I would like to get done. I'm going to get that out of the way. And so something like that can be a top priority. And it's just one thing. And this is the challenge that you will encounter, is how do I pick one thing? Well, it really forces you to make that decision in terms of your leadership. Let me just say, I'm going to take for granted you probably have a gajillion things that you do have to react to. But once you've locked into that one thing, you can start to make some time, block out some calendar time, etc. And typically, something for everybody to recognize that you only have, on average, 4 hours a day of maximum productive time. And this is science. And they've looked at it, 4 hours where you can really get into that zone, that flow state. And so you don't want to put things in there that are going to be more than 4 hours, or you can chunk it down and start to say, okay, I think I can get this part of my priority or my highest strategic leverage task done, and it'll help me move on. So then what happens is you have two other things. So what are the two other things that you would do as a bonus, not a bonus, sort of as the next thing? So really in your day, you're going to try and figure out how to manage your day to do three things, but what's next? So what are the things that I would do next? And what happens is if you've done number one correctly, chances are you probably thought about the two other things that you need to do that speak to you and say, all right, this is the next highest strategic leverage. And then finally, the three other things are the bonus rounds, if you will. And I like to put those things because it's something I like to look forward to. Maybe it's something a little fun, something that is a task that I can just sort of relax on, or something creative that I can start to explore. And all this decision making, just going through this exercise, doesn't take very long. I tend to do this in the evening and then revisit my 1, 2, 3 things to do in the morning. Let me just put a little caveat on the three bonus things. It's okay not to get them done. In fact, sometimes it's advantageous because of how your subconscious works. And this is, I hope I spelled that correctly. I think I did. Your subconscious and how it works. Now, let me just explain something. A lot of people, what happens is they sort of get on themselves because they put all these big lists together and they don't get to the list. And then they feel depressed or bad or guilty, like they failed somehow, that they haven't got to their list. It is a black hole and never ending emotional struggle, especially if you're someone who just keeps piling things on your list. And so what happens is you get to the end of the day and you look at your list and like, oh my gosh, I couldn't get all that stuff done. And you go into stress response. It affects your sleep and it just affects your mind. And you move into a place where your performance becomes suboptimal and it slowly degrades over time. What I like to do is just accept the fact that I didn't get to my three bonus things or even my two other things that I need to do. And if I've gotten the first thing done, I can put my head on my pillow and have a really good sleep and not worry about it. But what happens is if you accept that you're just not going to get things done and you sort of think about it before you go to bed, maybe do a little research or do some reading on it, etc. And that's where you want to use your time effectively to put yourself in a peaceful state before you go to bed. What happens is your subconscious will work on those bonus things and actually work on all this reprioritization and help you while you sleep. This is a tip I learned from some very successful people that told me they actually purposely put stuff on their list that they know they're not going to get done so they can load their subconscious minds up while they sleep, and then they feel refreshed and they revisit, what did I dream about, or what has been unlocked in the morning, and then things start to really flow, and that's where they get super excited. And I find that a very interesting technique, and often I'll wake up and I've been dreaming about a problem and I know about the solution. So there's a little tip for you. So in summary, let's take a look at this. Think about your highest strategic leverage priority, your number one thing. It may not feel like a priority because you got urgent things going on, but what is going to multiply, expand your time, or free up mental capacity for you to do these next two things? So then it's the one thing, which is the top thing. Then there's two, what's next thing, if you get number one done, and then three bonus things. And don't feel bad if you don't get to them. Like I said, obviously you've got a host of other things that you're going to be doing during the day. You get interrupted, meetings, phone calls, etc. Well, that is going to take a back seat to your prioritization list. And what will happen is once you get to that, the other things will get really easy. You'll be more productive, or even better, big word here, big word that everybody's going to have to learn if you want to be a startup founder, is eventually you're going to have to delegate. And so if you realize, hey, wait a second, I spend a lot of time burning up my opportunities for some high strategic leverage, I need to delegate, bring somebody on the team, get my virtual assistant going, all that stuff, so you can really maximize these 4 hours and multiply your effectiveness. So that's how we're going to approach these things. So if you want to talk about this more, let me know and get in touch and we can discuss. And if you need coaching or office hours, let me know as well, and happy to help you out.